to share some brain thoughts that I had in my head without rhyme or reason or motivation, just things that popped into my head that I want to share with you. This one I've been mulling over for a while, and I think I'm not alone because I know the topic of cancel culture is the zeitgeist at the moment. Like, everybody's talking about it, everybody has an opinion on it. But what I want to talk about is a question offshoot topic thingy that has arisen in my mind that contextually, I suppose, fits into that arena, but I want to hear your thoughts and just kind of talk it out with you and see what your opinions are, and if my opinions are misplaced, or maybe find out what my opinions are through talking to you and being conversated with. That sentence made no sense. To give you a jumping off point, because conversations are usually good when you have an anecdote to them. Last year on Twitter, I unfollowed everyone, every single person. I follow 0 people now. It had emerged that a person that I had previously worked with and subsequently followed on Twitter was being accused of some absolutely disgusting things. And around this time, other people who I followed on Twitter started calling out individuals who had not unfollowed this person. I learned for the first time that to some people, a follow is akin to showing your support or endorsing a person. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, because I don't vouch for anybody but myself. I can't stand by anybody but myself. Believe me, like, at times there are people I would say to you I had been in love with, I loved, and they turned out to be really bad people. It's my judgment call, it should not be your judgment call. Like, I found out they're Satan themselves. So I would never expect somebody to like another person or support another person based on what I follow. And that's kind of like an offshoot from the whole influencer thing, which I hate. Like, I hate the concept of influencers. I find it condescending to both parties and kind of irresponsible overall, but that's a conversation for another day. I think people have the right to suggest things and say things that they like. I can say to you, I like a certain product or I like a brand, but that doesn't mean don't go and research it yourself and figure out if you like it, and maybe you'll learn more things than I do. People that I had chosen to follow on Twitter were, of course, some of them were friends or people I had worked with, but they were also made up of people I found interesting or entertaining in some way. They weren't necessarily people I liked or thought were good people. Like, I even followed some politicians my core beliefs were at a complete contrast with, just because I was interested in hearing what they had to say and hearing other views and perspectives on things. I didn't follow them because I endorsed them. I just followed them because I wanted to hear what they had to say. So what I'm saying is, even if I fundamentally disagreed with somebody, I would follow them because I was interested in hearing other perspectives and other viewpoints. And other times I followed, maybe the problem is the term followed, I followed people that were saying dumb stuff just because I was kind of entertained. I was entertained by their stupidity. I found it entertaining. And I still am sure that that is what a follow says. I'm interested in hearing your perspective. I'm genuinely open to the idea. By following somebody, are you endorsing that person, or are you just following them because you're interested or entertained by them in some way? Let me know in comments what you think. So when it was suggested that following these few thousand people meant that I wholly supported and endorsed what they had to say, I mass unfollowed everybody and follow 0 people now. Like, the only person whose word I can stand by in life is mine, or like maybe Chewy's, but he doesn't have opposable thumbs and he can't tweet. So just me. As an island overall, I follow me. And even then I'm wrong oftentimes I'm wrong. So I knew I certainly didn't want to be seen to be unequivocally following this person, or indeed any person, and giving my yay to any person. So I unfollowed everyone, and I basically found myself completely uninformed and out of the loop on that particular situation, at least. I think it's important to emphasize that in that particular case, the unfollow was certainly warranted due to the level of accusations and because I knew some of those people who were involved in it. I'm talking in this video more about, in general, what does a follow mean to you, and is it okay to enjoy a person's content even if you think they're a bad person? People you're not subjectively involved with. Anyway, that got me thinking about what a follow or a subscribe means to the person doing the following or subscribing, and has made me kind of curious as to what it means to other people. In the last 2 years, an unreal amount of people have been cancelled, especially a lot of social media darlings, a lot of, like, pretty much all the big YouTubers got cancelled in 2020, like pretty much. And I feel like the majority of the voices that I hear talk about cancel culture have either one perspective completely or another completely. I've noticed people are either 100% cancel the person, they shouldn't be allowed to exist publicly, they should lose their job, whatever else the consequences of this person being punished and cancelled. And then there's the flip side of people who continue to support a person, whether they either don't think what they did was that big of a deal, or they don't think the person did it in the first place and they're very anti the cancellation. Like, there's two extremes. Maybe it's the fact that I've never been a fan of anyone, like, in the sense that I don't like people who watch this channel to call themselves fans. I like you to call yourselves viewers, because the idea of being a fan implies that you think the person can do no wrong, and that's a dangerous place to be. So yeah, I've never been a fan of anybody. I've admired people, and I think that's cool. You can admire traits in people, but not necessarily like think that the sun shines out of their arse, because it doesn't. The sun doesn't shine out of anybody's arse, theoretically or literally, as far as I'm aware. What I will contrast the content creator space with is the wider entertainment field, and I do acknowledge there's a difference of, say, the cancellation of Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, for example. Huge industry people that got cancelled recently for very good reasons. By the way, very much tip of the iceberg when it comes to the industry. The fact that a lot of celebrities feigned shock at what was happening was either like complete ignorant naivety or like they were lying, because beach, that stuff has been going on forever. The casting couch is a long-standing thing at every level, not like just Hollywood. It goes on in short films in Ireland, so it certainly goes on in Hollywood where there's actual power. But I digress, a topic for another day. So right, back to my two examples, Weinstein and Spacey. Most people universally agree that they should not be given their platform back. They shouldn't be allowed to have a high amount of success in Hollywood. They shouldn't be allowed to earn millions and be famous and get to do amazing projects. Like, most people generally agree on that. If you think otherwise, do let me know in comments. I'm interested in your perspective. The majority of people agree that their horrendous behavior should not be rewarded going forward. Now, my question: is it wrong, therefore, to still enjoy a movie that Kevin Spacey was in? Is it wrong to still enjoy a movie that Weinstein produced? And I'm going to make a massive assumption here and guess that the majority of you guys are going to say, no, that's fine, because when it comes to movies and TV projects, there's a lot of people involved in the creation. There's producers, directors, the actors, the writers. There's loads of people involved. It's not like an individual thing. So I think most people would say it's okay to still go. Seven is a great movie. It is genuinely a great movie. Good Will Hunting 2, Weinstein produced that. But he was a tiny cog in the machine of what made that film happen. If you haven't seen those two films, as an aside, do. They're brilliant. Or maybe you think that no, you could never watch those films or TV shows again and not be tainted by knowing that people involved in them did these awful things. That's a perspective and I want to hear it. Now let's go to another perspective. If instead of saying I really liked the projects that Kevin Spacey was involved in, what if I said I think Kevin Spacey is an incredibly talented actor? Is that wrong? Is it wrong to say that? Because obviously I think he's a horrible, awful person, but do I think he's talented? I think those are two separate things. One can taint the other. It's confusing. Are you confused? I feel like I can separate somebody being an incredible talent from being a disgusting, despicable person. Like, there are a lot of famous artists who did terrible things and their art still stands as fantastic. But I do agree, subjectively you might be tainted by the terrible, awful thing that they did. Maybe that's an entirely subjective thing from person to person and situation to situation. Like, I feel I could sit down and watch a Kevin Spacey movie and not have it bother me. But when I see Woody Allen on the screen, I just think, creep. Absolute creep. But I was never introduced to his work not thinking he was a creep. So maybe that's the individual subjective thing. So that's my first question in relation to movies and TV shows. Can the two things coexist? Can you both think a person is a horrible, disgusting person and appreciate their work? Like, can those things coexist, or does one cancel out the other? Or is it individualistic and subjective? Okay, so let's get back to content creators. A lot of content creators were cancelled in 2020 for an abundance of different reasons, and some very good reasons. Some cancelled themselves. I'm not going to even get into each individual person because there are whole channels dedicated to the why and the how of them and their downfalls or their apologies. There's a whole genre on YouTube dedicated to it, and you likely have your own opinions. I'm not going to sway you one way or the other on whether a person should or shouldn't be cancelled. That's down to you and your perspective. My question is, can you still enjoy their content and also hate the creator? Can you do that in the same way that you would still watch a Kevin Spacey movie, if you want to still watch a Kevin Spacey movie? And I see an argument for no, because content creation is entirely personal. I run the camera, I record the audio, I edit, well, the editor Diane edits. It's my ideas out of my brain head. There's nobody else here. Sometimes people have corporation channels, that's a whole different ball game. But when it comes to content creators, there is an individual there and they are directly benefiting from you consuming their content individually. On the flip side, I can say sometimes I consume content just like I follow people on Twitter because I'm interested in what they have to say, or I find them outrageous, or I just find them entertaining. Is that okay? Is it okay to hate watch a channel? Is it okay to think somebody's an awful, horrible person and enjoy consuming their content? Can you set aside how you feel about a creator, and is it okay to watch a creator's content who you deem to be a bad person? Is that okay? That's the question I throw out to you, and it's entirely rhetorical. I don't have a secret answer that I'm shoving at you. I'm just interested in how you view it. For example, Shane Dawson was flying high in 2019. His conspiracy videos were huge. He had these mini docu-series that were mind-numbingly gossipy, but they were interesting to consume as content. Did I think he was an intelligent, good person? No, I never thought he was an intelligent, good person, but I found him entertaining. I found his content interesting. Honestly, I thought he was pretty dumb and immature and needed better personal hygiene, but I still enjoyed his videos. I was aware he'd done very problematic content. I wasn't aware, when you compounded it all together, how huge it was and the vast expanse of it, but I was aware he wasn't like a great person that I looked up to as an idol or anything like that. I thought he was good at making a certain type of videos and I admired that, and in a way it was inspiring to me as a content creator that he created content like that, just purely on that level, but I didn't think he was a good person. Now, after the fact, a lot of people said that they had no idea that those problematic videos existed before they got into his content, and that's like, if you're a young person and you've never seen Shane Dawson before, okay. I do find it hard to quantify the fact that most people didn't align this Shane Dawson with this Shane Dawson and kind of go, they're the same people. They aren't necessarily an entirely good person. So what I'm getting to is, for example, Shane Dawson made this great video about a girl called Kanika Jenkins who sadly lost her life at a hotel, and it was part of one of his conspiracy theory videos, and I found that video interesting, and say I'd like to go back and rewatch it again because I still find it interesting. Is that wrong that I would want to go back and watch it again? Should I not go back and watch it again? What do you think? Is it bad for me to want to rewatch that video and that is a genuine question. I want to know what you think. I see why people are opposed to him regaining his standing on YouTube. Like, he is trying to make a comeback, supposedly. That's been a long time coming. And like Weinstein, do I think he should ever be head of the Hollywood industry again? No, because we should not reward bad behavior. Is it the same thing to appreciate a content creator's content as it is to consume something like a film or TV show? Or are those two things completely separate? Should we just never consume that person's content again because they're a bad person and they may in some way benefit from you watching it? On the other side, there are content creators that have been banned from YouTube, like Austin Jones, who is now in prison for horrible acts, and YouTube deemed him as a criminal, not to be allowed to have his platform anymore. I'm sure if you go searching for his videos, you could find them, but he has a criminal history now, and YouTube will not allow his content on YouTube. So is there, again, question for you, a difference between somebody who has been banned from the platform and somebody whose content is still allowed up? Like, legally, they haven't been held liable for anything. Is there a difference? I do get the anger that people have when they see somebody who they deem bad trying to make a comeback and there's been no justice served. I do get that. In life, we want to see bad things happen to bad people, but unfortunately, I have learned in life that a lot of times good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. And while we might wish there was like a karmic comeuppance for people, sometimes the universe just doesn't deal that for them. Sometimes good things happen to bad people, and that's super annoying. Like, I get that that's annoying. So is us refusing to watch their content us giving them their comeuppance? Maybe? Do I like Trisha Paytas as a human being? No, I find her to be a complete troll. I would not want her in my life as a person. I think she would destroy my life. She would create hell. But do I obsessively watch her TikTok drama going on all the time and think she's a bad person, but watch all the drama channels about it to escape my own meager existence? Yes, I do. Is that bad? Am I bad for doing that, for enjoying the drama of somebody removed from me? Is it bad that I want to follow that? Again, a question I have. Let me know what you think. Is it okay to follow the drama, to watch it and not get involved? Are you supporting bad people by consuming their content, or can those two things be two separate things? And is it okay to despise a person but enjoy their content? Is that a thing that can be held as two separate things? Or are those two things interminably entangled and you can't separate one from the other? I genuinely feel torn. I'm not trying to influence you one way or the other. I feel as torn about this fact as I do about eating pigs, who are intelligent animals, but also bacon tastes good. I feel torn. I don't know how I should be viewing it or what I should be thinking, and I want your thoughts to inform my own thoughts. So throwing it out there to you, that's it for today. Thank you for listening to my mind vomit. Bye. Woody Harrelson, Woody Allen. Woody Allen! Oh my gosh, I said Woody Allen. Oh no! Those are two very different people. Woody Allen's the bad dude. Woody Harrelson, as far as I know, hasn't done anything. I do apologize to Woody Harrelson. Sorry. That's the goofiest laugh.